Welcome to the Professor Knits podcast. I'm Nikki and I'm your host. I hope you're all doing well today. A couple of days ago it was July 1st, so happy Canada Day. I am a Canadian living in the US, and so I always kind of celebrate Canada Day, although we didn't do anything this year. And tomorrow is July 4th, Independence Day for my American friends. And my children are American, and my husband's an American. So it's a special week. I'm just making sure my tripod here stays put. So happy Canada Day if you're Canadian. Happy Independence Day if you're American. We're not doing a whole lot. We're not really doing anything. And I'm telling you, the nightly fireworks going off in our neighborhood, it's not as bad as in some areas, but every night there's fireworks going off. And my poor dog, she's just terrified of them. So I'm hoping that maybe after the 4th of July, things calm down a little bit with all the fireworks. I know I would appreciate that if people just cut it out. So yeah, we're not going to be doing anything. And I'm feeling kind of blue today because, well, maybe not blue, but yesterday, well, since this quarantine started, my main concern has been keeping my family safe, especially my children, and keeping them happy and occupied. And we've been strict quarantining here at home. And the only time I've gone out is for mostly just essential things, groceries. I'll go to Target if I need, my daughter needed socks and underwear, like that kind of stuff that you kind of have to buy. And I'm trying not to do too much online shipping or shopping because I want to support brick and mortar businesses. So it's been kind of tricky, and my husband's been working, and so he's been taking super precautions at work with his employees and everything. So we've tried to be really, really responsible about it. And for almost 4 months now, my kids haven't gone anywhere. We did take them camping for 3 days near here, but we went to the overflow camping because every single campsite was booked. People everywhere, nobody social distancing. So we were a little nervous, so we decided to go to the overflow camping where nobody was there. There's a few people, but not too many people. And so we did that, and we booked 2 or 3 campsites so that nobody could be camping next to us. So, we've been really, really careful. And so yesterday I decided I needed to go to Joann's to use up some of my coupons. So I, of course, got my mask and sanitized my hands and did all the usual precautions. And when I got there, I found what I was looking for, and it was for the kids, art supplies for the kids, because let's face it, you can't find them anywhere online, like kids paint and stuff like that, except for watercolors, and we've got lots of watercolors. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to go and see what's in the store because my daughter really loves to paint and we're out. So I went and found something for her to do. And when I was in the checkout line, I saw that Joann's is now selling cloth masks. And they're selling children's-sized cloth masks. So I picked up one for my kids. And it's been hard because when I did have to go out to my local yarn store to drop off something, and I had to have the kids with me. So for fun, I just told them to put their Star Wars masks on. And I didn't want to leave them in the car because it was like 95 degrees. And I didn't want to leave them in the car with it running. Obviously, we don't do that. So I brought them in, and it wasn't long before they wanted to take the Star Wars masks off. So clearly that wasn't going to work. So anyways, when I saw these at Joann's, I grabbed them, and I brought them home. And this one is for my son. It's got rocket ships on it. He was so excited because he doesn't like wearing the mask that I've tried to make him wear. And then for my daughter, she was super excited because I got her one that has rainbow unicorns on it. And so they thought it was so fun, and they were putting them on, and I looked at my 2 children who for the first time are wearing these types of masks rather than play masks. And I just felt such a profound sadness that this is happening for them. You know, we have not hid from them at all what's going on. And they don't seem to care too much. They're having a great time because they've never played so many video games in their life, in their short lives. But there was just something about seeing them wearing these masks that just, I guess, refreshed all sorts of weird emotions for me. And I live in Knoxville, East Tennessee. I will get to the knitting in just a second. I live in Knoxville, East Tennessee, and our county health, Knox County Health, is really stepping up finally and making masks mandatory as of today in public places. So I don't know, it's just, it hit home to me in a different way, seeing my kids wearing these masks. And I'm sure you guys can relate. We're all getting so tired of this. But if we're just vigilant, we'll see the end soon, I hope. Anyways, let's get to the knitting. I don't have any finished objects, but I'm very proud of Zelda. As you can see, she's sober today. She doesn't have any clothes on because her last brouhaha, her last night out, she stripped all her clothes off to sober up. And now, I mean, I can't take her anywhere, really. But what she's wearing is a finished object from a couple years ago that I thought I would put on and show you guys. And that is the Fairy Hill Shawl by the incomparable Helen Stewart of A Curious Handmaid. And I like this one because it's an adjustable size shawl, and this I just did with one skein. I love one skein shawls. But as you can see, I'll take it off. Now she's completely naked. It's just this beautiful, dreamy shawl, very romantic, lots of lace. And I've knit this one up a couple times. And I just absolutely love it. And I knitted it up on a one skein of yarn, which is my Muse's base. And I'll show you the yarn in just a second. And I think that it's a match made in heaven, this yarn and this pattern. And this is an old pattern. It's been out for several years. But I knitted it up on my Muse's base, which is my real luxury base. And I did some dyeing this morning and came into contact, had a bit of an argument with some blue dye. I won. Anyways, so this is the yarn that it's knitted up on, and it's my Muse's base, and it's so luxurious, I can't even tell you guys. It is 70% baby alpaca, 20% silk, 10% cashmere. So there's no wool in it at all. So it's a really dreamy, oh gosh, what did somebody call it? It feels like buttered kittens, which I know is a popular saying now for super duper soft yarn. But it's just the most gorgeous, soft, supple yarn. And so it's on the Muse's base. And I like the line that I have on the Muse's because they're all very sort of muted, dreamy, romantic colors. So they're just perfect for that, you know, if you want something really classy and sophisticated and nothing speckled or tonal or anything. I don't do anything except straight solid colors on this base. But of course, there's still a lot of depth to the color. They're not lifeless. They're still very vibrant. So yeah, and this is the Hera colorway, which is basically just mauve. But of course, I like to name my yarns after Greek gods and goddesses. So most of my Hera, whenever I do up a mauve, I usually call it Hera. Ask any dyer or even any designer. The hardest part of the process is coming up with the name. Very, very hard. So yeah, that's what Sober Zelda is wearing today. Now, I'm going to show you, well, first of all, let me show you my whips, since I don't have a finished object for you today. I've made a little bit of progress on my Love Note sweater. I got through the lace without making any mistakes, so that's good. 3 times is a charm. So the first 2 times I tried knitting this sweater, I kept messing up the lace detail. The beautiful lace, and now I'm just going on the stockinette, and it's going very quickly because it's on like huge needles, size 8 I think needles, and it's fingering weight held together with mohair. And this is my own yarn. This is Medusa yarn and fiber on my Olympians base, which is an MCN base held with a color that a color that I dyed up to match. And this is on Priya. The colorway is Priya. So it does very much look like a rose gold color, but I would say it's a little bit browner than a rose gold. And there are some sweater kits available at medusayarn.com for the Love Note. Hello, darling. I'm podcasting. You can take that, but can you go back into the bedroom? Thank you, sweetheart. She found some fabric that I'm going to sew her a really... I'm going to make you a pillow out of that. I had it hidden, but she finds it. Pardon me. So, yes, Priya Olympians base, which is an MCN base, held with mohair, a mohair silk blend. And the mohair silk blend base that I carry is only available in kits. I don't sell it separately yet, but I think I will because it's very popular. So if you're interested, it's a beautiful knit. I see why it's such a popular pattern, that's for sure. All right, so that's one work in progress, is my Love Note sweater by Tin Can Knits. Another work in progress is a shawl, and it is the Mystery Knit Along, the Stillness Mystery Cowl by Helen Stewart of A Curious Handmade. And Clue 2 came out yesterday, and I've done a little bit of it. So if you don't want to see Clue 1 or the very beginning of Clue 2 knitted up, you might want to jump ahead. But here it is. This is the beginning here, and Clue 1 was this part, then the color A is the gray, then striping colors B and C, and I think this is color B, then back to striping B and C. And right here, that was the end of Clue 1. And if you can see, there's quite a bit of texture in this area here. With a slip stitch, sort of a star slip stitch motif. It's just beautiful. And now Clue 2 starts with that gray again. And it's got a really nice, delicate lace pattern happening in there. So we're already up at over 260 stitches. So it's getting a little bit big. I think I'm going to have to change up some cords. And this is being done on a size... a fairly large needle. Is it size 7 or 6? So I'm really enjoying it. I've said this before and I'll say it again. When it comes to mystery knit-alongs, at least at this stage in my life, in my knitting life, I'm not going to do a mystery knit-along unless it's Helen Stewart. So beautiful. The yarn is, of course, my own. Actually, right now, all the yarn I'm knitting with right now is Medusa yarn and fiber, which I don't like to always do. Like, I like to use other people's yarn. It's just how it happens to be turning out right now. So the yarn is a kit I knitted up, dyed up for this project on my MCN base again. So Olympians, merino, cashmere, nylon, and these are the 3 colors. So we start with the gray, which is stoned, and of course, Medusa. So if you don't know the stoned reference, I won't take the joy of finding it out for you. Google it. So stoned. And then the other two are only right now available in this kit, so I haven't named them yet. Surprise, surprise. So this one has the same gray, and then it's got Hera, the mauve, in it, as you can see. Very similar. So it's gray and mauve. And then the third skein is the gray with the mauve, and then also with some very dark navy, almost purpley colors, and some sapphire pops speckled throughout. So a lot going on. It's not always that easy to be able to see the vibrant color through the monitor, but yes, these three were just dyed up specifically for this. And I had dyed a bunch of different kits, and they're now available on my website as well, medusayarn.com, under shawl kits. Yeah, I love Helen Stewart's shawls, obviously. I did this one. I've done this one several times. I've done her Sea Gleam several times. Yeah, I just love her shawls. It's my sort of aesthetic, this real sort of dreamy, romantic looking shawl. Okay, so I also have another shawl to show you today. And this one is Hokey Look, who's another fantastic designer who you've all heard of. It's her latest shawl. It's already been out for about a month or so. Venezia, and it's a single skein shawl. And I decided to knit it up using a new colorway that I've dyed up. So this is a new color, and this is really out of my comfort box, my color palette, but I'm just in that kind of a mood this summer. I want to dye up stuff that I normally don't dye up. And this is what I've come up with. It is, it might be hard to tell, maybe that's a little bit better. Greens, aquamarine, some rusty orange and browns and faint yellows. And it's just, it looks tropical, but also woodsy. I just absolutely love it. And it just became available. This is my Trojan's base, 80-20, so 80 superwash merino, 20% nylon. So it's a good sock yarn, but also perfect for shawls. But it just became available on my website. So if you like these types of colors together, I suggest you hop on over and snatch up one for yourself. And then I decided this needs a friend, something to sort of anchor it if you're doing a larger shawl or something like that. And so I dyed up a very similar green, very tealy green, and you can see these streaks of blue throughout. Those streaks of blue are also in here. Okay, it's hard to, you might not be able to see it. Okay, so this is Dryad, which Dryads were in ancient Greek mythology tree spirits or tree nymphs that could be friendly but could also be quite mischievous and chaotic. So I decided that since this is kind of a dreamy colorway with some beautiful woodsy colors in it, I thought it was a good match for the Dryads. So this is the Dryads. Hard to miss because it's the only thing like it on my website. And this, I haven't named yet, but by the time this podcast goes up, it'll be named. And they go together well if you need two skeins, like a two skein shawl project, and you need something to anchor. I always need to have a solid color with a more crazy variegated sometimes speckled, to just sort of anchor it. So I decided that I needed to immediately cast on this new colorway to see how it knitted up. So I balled one up, and I decided just to do it on its own and to do the Venezia shawl by Hokey Look. And it is so beautiful, so vibrant. Again, it's so hard to show you guys through the camera with my amateur setup. But at first, when I first started knitting this, I thought, well, it's a pretty intricate, lacy pattern. Like there's a lace panel on the sides, and then there's this texture in the middle. Maybe I shouldn't be using such a variegated, bright yarn. But then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go for it because, like I said, this is about me getting out of my comfort zone. And I can tell just how much I'm going to love it because it's not going to be a very big shawl. It's a long diamond shape shawl. So you start out really skinny, you go out into the V, and then we'll go back up. So it'll be a nice thing, almost like a kerchief that you can wrap around your neck. And so it's okay if it's really vibrant color without something like this or a nice dark brown or orange anchoring it. But this is, I think I need a sweater in this. Love it. Yeah, so I had a lot of fun in the dye pot last week and came up with, I think this is going to be something that'll stick around. It would look gorgeous in a pair of socks, a hat held with mohair. I don't know if I'd wear a hat like this. I'm pretty conservative with my hat choices. But yeah, definitely a little thing with a white t-shirt and a jean jacket. It'll look amazing. Yeah, so that's my podcast for the week. So have a good day, everybody. Happy 4th of July, and we'll see you next week.